Hi, Paul Sakis, Good News Planet. Speaking to Bill Couzens. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great, Paul. Thanks so much.
Well, I've heard very good things about what you're doing through Veronique Pittman, and she mentioned you've been involved with the world of cancer and doing good there. And so tell our audience what you're up to.
Well, it is the name of the foundation I founded is called Next Generation Choices Foundation. The campaign that I founded, we're a public charity. The campaign that we founded was called Less Cancer. One of the reasons, Paul, we called it Less Cancer is because that was really our elevator speech at the time. We are all about building awareness and educating individuals, families, and communities all about reducing risk. What happens when we work to reduce risk, often lots of other great things can come as a result of that. So while we can never identify or scientists tell us that we can't identify who's going to get cancer and who won't get cancer, what we can do is work towards reducing those risks associated with cancer. And we know when we do that, things like asthma, heart disease, obesity, environmental issues that seem to get, corrected. It is not corrected, but, I have a very positive impact on those things. So in 1971, Richard Nixon launched the war on cancer, and since that time, we have, spent countless billions of dollars on cancer. Unfortunately, what we're finding, or the scientists tell us that we're finding, is that we have increased incidences in cancer. We see that with brain cancers in children, blood cancers in children. So that is, that's our focus, is we don't believe that everybody should have to go through cancer, and yet we're seeing these statistics where 1 in every 2 men will be diagnosed, 1 in every 3 women, and that obviously is worrisome. I should let you know, Paul, I'm not a scientist. I'm a promotions guy that had owned a magazine at one time. I, as a brand promotions person, was very involved with creating messages for the masses. Less Cancer came along because I had had several people in my life that had been affected by cancer. Some had died from cancer, and we started this shortly after my sister died about 8 years ago. And our whole focus is working towards reducing risk. So we're not really early diagnosis, early detection. We're really interested in including this notion of prevention in the cancer conversation. This last Friday, we had a resolution that was introduced by Congressman Steve Israel, who is the co-chair of the House Cancer Caucus, for Cancer Prevention Day, which was a Less Cancer program that we have gone state to state working to get Cancer Prevention Day on February 4th. And so what that does, Paul, is it really introduces this notion of prevention. And so we often see, and if you have a question, jump in here, but we see lots of, treatment models, which is great. We all want the cure, but we're coming from a place guided by evidence-based science with some of the best scientists out there today that are working to make people aware of the things in their lives that take on the natural landscapes of their lives to reduce cancer risk.
Okay, so let's talk prevention. What do you mean by prevention? What does somebody do to prevent getting any kind of cancer?
Well, there are lots of focuses. As I'd mentioned, our focus is in the reduction of risk. Obviously, for things like colon cancer, there are early detection, there are early things that they can do in that instance, or in mammograms, or in any of those other types of medical models, which really isn't our focus, because there's so many people out there that are very good at that, and we're grateful for the work they're doing. So, we're looking at things like food and our lifestyle choices and how we're living and the type of exercise we're getting. We know that cancer can be prevented in some cases, as we've seen with smoking or exposures to chemicals like asbestos. We know that. We're aware of that. But we also have something like over 80,000 chemicals out there that we don't really have a great understanding of, and that's just one piece of it. So we often bring things into our homes, or as consumers will choose things because we often assume that legal or for sale means safe, and it really doesn't. Another thing that we do is that, we make this assumption that because we know of no harm at the time that it's good to go. Well, we know that's not the case for things either. And often, as I've written in a blog not all that long ago, we talked about really making human health and the environment part of the conversation when we sit down for any project. So if we're looking to make money and we're looking to sit down, and the first question we ask is, how does this make money? Maybe other questions we should be asking is, what is this going to do for human health? What is this going to do for the environment? That's never really been part of our conversation. And so we are creating this relevant conversation, mostly through the web. Some of our programming has been offline, where we've provided, gym shoes and some fitness stuff or some nutritional guidelines and some food. But it's all about the message and really reaching people and asking them for change and to make change in their own lives.
Mm-hmm. And so how did somebody involve themselves with your organization?
Well, there are lots of ways that they can do it, but all they have to do is write me, Bill Couzens, at info@lesscancer.org.
Okay, that's a good way.
We'll
on your website, tell us about the website.
Pardon me?
What do people see when they go to lesscancer.org
website? We're building our website because what's happened is we've ended up with so much traffic at times that it's breaking. So our website is actually being redone. What most people are doing is they're finding us on Facebook, Less Cancer on Facebook. We have a fan page where you can like us and you can get updated information, updated news articles, and there is the less conversation occurring there. We also have a cause page as part of the Facebook piece, and we're on Twitter, and we often have people reach out to me, and we make sure we get back to them with the right information. But I want to be clear, so many of these things aren't necessarily what I think. I, as I mentioned earlier, am not a scientist or a physician, but our work is guided by those experts, and the experts that work in evidence-based science. So what we try to do is we try to take messages attached to that evidence-based science and make it very digestible for the masses. And it's been fairly effective. We get, just on the one Facebook page for Less Cancer, we also have one for Healthy Town that listeners can like us on. Healthy Town is a program of ours where we produce short videos, one called Healthy Town Detroit, that models Healthy Town behaviors and choices. The first one, Healthy Town Detroit, one story there, for instance, was of the Capuchin Soup Kitchen that serves 2,000 guests a day, I think at times, and much of their food comes from a USDA-certified organic garden right in the middle of Detroit, which to me is amazing. So, we try to point to those people, those great social entrepreneurs that are doing great stuff to reduce risk, and not necessarily, sometimes we'll tell people not to do something, but we don't give them an option, and often they just want the option.
Got it. Bill, sounds like you're doing a lot of good news. You're sharing a lot of good news, and other people are sharing good news with you. So I'm sure you're feeling good about it all.
Well, I think we are. We're a growing organization. It's important that other people get involved and that we continue our collaborations as we do. We try to collaborate with schools and hospitals and medical centers, universities. We really have reached out, and we've had other organizations and entities reach out to us as well.
Great. Super. All right, last question, and thank you very much for sharing and for the work you're doing. What's good news for you, Bill?
What good news? What do you mean by what? I've got lots of
Any kind of good news. Good news you personally, good news for the organization, good news just overall in general.
I got some great kids, and I've seen their generation do some amazing things to make change in the planet right now. And I think, this is an exciting time. We have lots of people solving problems in a really creative way, and I think that's good news.
Great. Okay. Thanks a lot, Bill, for sharing. And we're here if you have more that you'd like to share. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Paul.
Bye-bye.